Indiana basketball has a chance to make some noise as they head up to Knoxville.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen each and every day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy fixes tired fast with zero sugar and a convenient portable size. It's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. Go to 5hourenergy.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. Go to 5hourenergy.com and use the code LOCKEDONCFB. Well, thank you so much for being here again, truly making this your first listen, your first watch each and every day, whether you're on audio or whether you're watching us on YouTube. I appreciate you and thank you so much for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers for showing up Monday through Friday each and every day. Well, the Indiana Hoosiers in the basketball season, we know it doesn't start officially until November, but we've got some good news. And Indiana is going to make a little bit of a road trip at the end of October. They're heading to Knoxville, Tennessee to take on Rick Barnes and the Volunteers in an exhibition game, a charity event, if you will, that'll be happening at the end of October. And to put it plain and simple here, the Hoosiers have a chance to make a little noise and turn some heads with this game. I'll tell you why today. I'll tell you what we can learn from that game today. And also, which it's not today, but I'll tell you what we can learn on the show today. How about that? And then towards the end of the program, at the end of the show in our final segment, we'll look into FIU a little bit as Indiana takes them on for football in week 1. Well, it was announced a couple of days ago that Indiana will be traveling to Knoxville, Tennessee. They're going to take on the Volunteers in a charity exhibition game that will be taking place on Sunday, October 27th. That'll happen at Thompson Bowling Arena there in Knoxville. And it's a charity event. And so there's a really big piece of this that you need to understand. With this being an early season charity exhibition game, it has to be charity oriented. Between two Division I teams and the NCAA, they mandate to where it has to be for charity. The home team or whatever the arena is, they have to sell tickets, and that money has to go to whatever charity they choose. And which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. It's one of the few things the NCAA actually does, and one of the actual good rules that the NCAA has in place, where it's like, look, if you guys want to do something before the season, that's fine, but we're going to make this for a good cause, because they don't really want it to happen, but they're not going to stop it if you do, type of thing. And so Tennessee is going to sell tickets there at Thompson Bowling, and all the money is going to support the John McClendon Foundation, which, if you don't know what that is, read into that. It's for minority kids to get a chance at life and to get chances to play basketball and to get to things like that. And so go check out the John McClendon Foundation if you aren't aware of that. But that's what the money is going towards. And so all of that information, ticket-wise, and whether it's going to be on TV or not, sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're closed off. The coaches don't want it to be on film, right? So we'll see if that ends up happening or not. But this is going to take place on October 27th. And that's interesting because we know the regular season starts in, a week and a half after that? Because there's another exhibition game to get the season started on November 1st. And then boom, like a few days later, you start the regular season. And so I think we have a chance to go to Tennessee and turn some heads, make a little noise in Knoxville, whether it's on TV or not. There will be enough people there that can spread the word about what truly happens in this game. And I think it's a perfect opportunity for Indiana to just flat out get better as a basketball team, because look at the non-conference schedule. We've had this conversation. My everydayers know this. outside of South Carolina, which is and outside of your non-conference feast week tournament that a lot of other teams are part of and other tournaments around the country, outside of that, your non-conference schedule is weak. It's a weak schedule for us in Indiana. And I don't know what South Carolina is going to be. I don't think they're going to be all that great. But it is what it is. It's a big name, I guess. This is a huge opportunity here for us in Indiana to learn who we are and figure out where we need to get better. We'll talk more about that and what we can learn in just a few minutes. But man, this could be one of the better games in your non-conference schedule. And I know it doesn't technically count towards your record and whatever, but man, what a great idea that this was for Mike Woodson and this entire Indiana team and program to say, yeah, we'll pack up. We'll fly to Knoxville. We'll come play you guys in an exhibition game because that's a really, really good Tennessee basketball program. Rick Barnes has been coaching basketball for 100 years and more like in the upper 30s, but still, the guy's a legendary coach. Can't win the big games, but he can win a lot of them, that's for sure. And I think the Hoosiers can go down there to a really nice arena. Been to Thompson Bowling a few times myself. It is a really, from the outside, it's not all that pretty. If you've never been there, you're not going to look on the outside and think, wow, this is nice. It's not from the outside, but the inside is very nice there at Thompson Bowling. But the Indiana Hoosiers have a chance to go in here and figure some things out, right? Because that's a Tennessee team that won over 20 games a year ago, who made a run in the NCAA tournament. Yes, they lost 6 of their rotation players, including Dalton Knecht, to the NBA, but that's a team that's predicted as a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament right now in the latest bracketology. So they're going to be good. They're going to be very talented. And one thing we do know is they're going to be very well coached. And so what can we learn from this game? We'll talk about that coming up in a second. But my thing is, let's go in here and make a little noise because, again, whether it's televised or not, we will find out who wins this game, who looked good and who didn't, which team looked good, which team didn't, which individual players looked good and which ones didn't. Let's go make some noise. Let's go turn some heads before the season even starts and put Indiana basketball back on the radar of college basketball fans. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll talk about what we can learn from a game like this because this won't be your typical straight-up 40-minute slugfest. We'll talk about that, what we can learn, and what we know going into it maybe about Tennessee and Indiana playing in a charity exhibition game in October. We'll have that for you coming up next on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. I drink 5 Hour Energy a few times a week. Friday nights calling high school football, on the weekends covering college football, maybe even Mondays as well. Like, there's just times where you got to get a little extra boost. And there's so many things that it can help you do. If you're somebody that works out, I've been trying to get back into it. That's a perfect time to take a 5 Hour Energy. You want to get back in shape, but maybe you're having trouble staying motivated. Make 5 Hour Energy shots part of your lifestyle and get the energy boost you need to get fit. We all know you sometimes do not want to go to the gym. Me. Take a 5 Hour Energy shot to give you the feeling and alertness so you can get into the gym. All right, so with 5 Hour Energy, it is the brand hardworking people like you have trusted for over 20 years to give them alert, energized feeling they need to get through a busy, hectic day. You always know where to find 5 Hour Energy shots right at the cash register at nearly every convenience, drug, and grocery store nationwide. Stock up on money-saving multi-packs to make sure you never run out of delicious 5 Hour Energy shots. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONCollegeFootball. That's LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid through September 30th, okay? And it's only can be used on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. So go to 5hourenergy.com today. Welcome back to Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much again for being here. Shout out to all of my everydayers. You are amazing. You guys have been just rock stars here throughout the summer. And as we're getting into the heart of the fall, right? And hey, just a live update on our subscriber count on YouTube, 2,797. Okay. So you have got to subscribe to the show. We're 3 away from 2,800. We're surging towards 3,000. So if you're looking for a free way to support the show, that's the best way to do it. It's like this video. Comment down below your thoughts on Indiana going to Tennessee for an exhibition game. Are you excited about it? Are you worried about it? Are you kind of up in the air, kind of wondering what this could be? Let us know in the YouTube comments. And then hit our show logo and subscribe to the YouTube channel, okay? It's the best way to help support the show that is free to you every single day. So thank you so much for doing that. Well, what can we learn from a game like this, an exhibition charity game late October, about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the regular season actually gets started for Indiana basketball? Well, I'll tell you what we can learn right now is what I've alluded to already. The fact that Tennessee is going to be a very good basketball team, right? They're predicted as a 4 seed in the latest bracketology, which it's still August. It's tough to pick bracketologies for March, but they know and are predicting Tennessee to be a really good team. They will be one of the best teams in the SEC. They'll be in the mix of an Arkansas and probably a Kentucky and an Auburn and an Alabama. Like, those are really good teams in the SEC, and Tennessee will always, as they usually are, be right there in the mix. And look, Rick Barnes is a really, really good coach. I crack jokes that he can't win big games because it's true, but he's been a historically great coach for a very long time. And so I love when big name historical programs like this get together. I wish we could do this in the regular season. I really do. I wish we could have this one on the schedule. Heck, make this a season opener. I'd be all for it. Oh my God, I'd be all about it. It would never happen, but I wish we could because, man, these two programs are just so historic in college basketball. You're talking about a Hall of Fame coach and a guy who's trying to get there, and Mike Woodson, right? And has a ways to go, but is trying to get there and bring Indiana back. And man, the talent that's going to be on the floor for these two teams is going to be unbelievable. But what we can learn here is where Indiana is. And if you're Mike Woodson, that's exactly why you take a game like this. Rick Barnes is going to do the exact same thing with his Tennessee squad. Is, okay, we've played all summer long. We've gotten through the fall. The season's almost here. Let's see where we are. This is what they call a litmus test, right? You've heard that term a ton of times in sports. That's exactly what this is let's get our two teams together in a gym. Yes, there'll be some fans. Maybe it'll be televised or streamed or whatever, but let's just see where we are. Let's implement, or I guess let's show what we've implemented. Let's run some of our plays. Let's run some of our sets. Let's just get out and run against anybody else in the world other than each other and just see where we are. And what you hope for here is that your team looks solid, right? Yes, you want to look good. Yes, you want to win, yada, yada. But what you hope is that your team has made progress and that some of the things that you've worked on are sticking, are working, are taking a shape on your program, on your team, rather than being on the flip side of it. It's like, man, that was horrific. That was ugly basketball. We didn't know any of our plays. We couldn't shoot. We couldn't play. Our defense was putrid. Like, that's where you don't want to be. And yes, again, you want to win, right? But this is a charity exhibition game. It doesn't matter. It's one of the few times where winning and losing is not the main priority, which is crazy to say. It is. It's absolutely insane to think that way. But in this situation, it's true because you're looking at individual players. You're looking at individual rotations. You're looking at defense. You're looking at, okay, who shot it well on the road outside of our gym? And Mike Woodson has a quote similar to that, sort of alluding to that. He says, quote, "We are excited to be able to play such a good, well-coached team in Tennessee to get us ready for the season." He goes on to say, this is it right here, "We wanted to test ourselves away from our home floor early in the season, and this will be a great experience to learn where we are as a ball club." He goes on to say they're excited to play for a wonderful cause in the McClendon Foundation, and what they do is truly special and is a credit to John McClendon and his legacy. But you heard what he said there. We want to test ourselves against a really good team away from our home floor early in the season. Because, again, look at our schedule. We don't leave Bloomington. The only time we do is for a tournament. Everything else is here in Indiana. Last year, we at least went to Atlanta. Yeah, we got embarrassed, but we at least went down there, right? I like this. I like this decision a ton. They're doing it for all of the right reasons, Indiana is. Get out of Bloomington, get out of Assembly Hall, which we love, get out of the practice facility, go play in an opposing gym. No, it's not about the fans this time. It's about different backdrops and different backgrounds and different sights and different sounds and different feels and just a different environment when you play basketball. Things that we talk about all the time that are factors, rather than when Big Ten play starts and the team goes on the road for the first time, or even when you go to a tournament like we're going to, it's not, whoa, I can't play outside of my gym. We haven't left Assembly Hall in months. This is weird. You don't want it to be that way. That's why you play games like this. And then the biggest thing, you're looking to stay healthy, which you could say that about every single day of a college, any athletic program. But you do want to stay healthy. You don't want anybody getting hurt in an exhibition game. But I expect both teams to play extremely hard. I expect the coaches to coach them hard. I expect the players to play hard. And yeah, you are going to try and win it, but you're just looking to get better and just see where you are. Because then if you're Mike Woodson, you take the results from that and you say, okay, we were good here, but man, we got to get better in the defense. And our guard play was good, but man, we got to get more Ballo involved a little bit more, or whatever the case may be, right? That's why you play this game. And I cannot wait for it. I'm so excited for Tennessee to host us, the Indiana Hoosiers, at Thompson Bowling. That will be on October 27th. Looks like tickets will go on sale on September 16th at allvols.com. So be sure, if you want to make that trip, I think it'd be worth it. I really, really do. October 27th, that's a Sunday, so it'll probably be a mid-Sunday afternoon game would be my guess. And so, make the trip. Hey, spend a weekend in Knoxville. It's a cool town. I recommend it. And then you can get back to work for Monday. So, again, Indiana and Tennessee, October 27th, in a charity exhibition game at Thompson Bowling Arena, where the Hoosiers can make some noise and turn some heads as well. Well, coming up in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers, we'll take a little look into FIU, the first week opponent for Indiana football. Who do you need to know, and why should the Hoosiers just take care of business? We'll have that for you in our final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we've got something a little bit different for you today. Now through September 22nd, so about 3 weeks, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I love my NFL Sunday Ticket, and I highly recommend it. You sit down, you've got all the games, you can watch any out-of-market game that you want to. Because with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to do just that. Watch any regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn to download America's #1 sportsbook. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is also brought to you by Factor Meals. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, which is the ones that I use, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Look, I used Factor, okay? I tried it out because, just wanted to see what it was about. I ordered 8 meals my first time, fell in love with it. My next order is on the way. It's literally in the mail as we speak. Supposed to be here, believe, on Monday. And so I can't wait, man. I take it to work. I eat it at home. I eat it on the go. When they say 2 minutes, it's literally 2 minutes. And they have all sorts of stuff: chicken, fish, steak, filet mignon. Can you believe that? It's restaurant quality meals that feature premium ingredients from shrimp to salmon, filet. I mean, it's unbelievable what Factor is able to do. And you just heat it up and you go. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, and simply eat well balanced. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 and use the code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active at factormeals.com. Final segment on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, I appreciate you all being here, and it means the world to me that you guys continue to show up each and every day as we are growing. I'm telling you, we're growing by the day here at Locked On Hoosiers, so thank you so much for being a part of that. If you're looking for your second watch or your second listen every day, whether you're on audio, whether you're on video on the YouTube side of things, go check out Locked On College Football. Spencer is doing a phenomenal job over there getting you ready for week 1. Had all the week 0 reactions, and then to get you ready for week 1 on the Locked On College Football podcast. So go check him out. And speaking of college football, be on the lookout here on this evening on this channel on Locked On Hoosiers, because each and every week, all of the hosts from the Locked On Big Ten shows with Craig Sheeman, the Locked On Big Ten host, we all sit down once a week and do a weekly preview of the upcoming games around the Big Ten. So keep an eye on that. Lots of fun. Gets kind of wild, but it is a lot of fun. So that'll be premiering on Thursday nights here on Locked On Hoosiers. So keep that in mind as well. And speaking of college football, let's look into FIU for just a minute. That is the week 1 opponent for Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers. And I'll start by saying this, okay? This is not supposed to be a very good team. They are bottom of the FBS. They've had 2 or 3 maybe winning seasons, maybe 4 winning seasons since they joined the FBS way back in 2004. And they're predicted to almost make a bowl game, but it's because their conference is horrific. It is really, really bad. They have numerous teams that are in the bottom 10 or 15 of the entire landscape of college football. So keep that in mind here, okay? Keep that in mind when you think about this FIU team. They do bring back some starters, though. They bring back a quarterback. They got a couple of running backs. Their leading receiver did transfer to Notre Dame, so they don't really know what they've got on the outside. And they have a quarterback who is, I'm not going to say overly confident, but he's very confident, okay? Now listen to what Keon Jenkins had to say going into his sophomore season. He says, quote, "They're feeding off my energy right now. I've been rolling the past couple of weeks. The more I grow up, the more they grow up. So I try to keep the intensity level high, and they try to match me. We're rolling right now. That's one thing I can say. We're not making the same mistakes we made the first week of camp. It's real smooth." All right, so he's going to have Shamari Lawrence behind him and have Lexington Joseph behind him. As I mentioned, they're going to be looking to see who they're going to throw the football to. But Indiana favored by 22 against FIU on Saturday afternoon. This will be Saturday afternoon. This will be on the Big Ten Network, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern for whichever time zone you're in. Look, we're going to win the game. But we can't go in and just expect that. And I don't think Kurt Cignetti will let this team do that. I don't think they'll ever have that mindset because he's never been able to have that mindset because he's had to build teams from the bottom. And yes, he had good teams and good programs, but he just doesn't come off as that type of guy now, does he? I don't think so. And I think for the FIU offense, will they have an explosive play or two? Yeah, probably, especially with a guy like Jenkins who can throw it, can make plays with his legs, can kind of extend plays if he has to. I think they'll have a couple of plays, and it may end up being, right? It may end up being busted plays on Indiana's defense. And honestly, that's okay. Let it happen. Let's see what we can do to fix it. How do we adjust? Or maybe we just play a flawless game. I don't know. Offensively for us versus their defense, that's where we got to win the game. That's where Indiana needs to have Curtis Schwartz step up, find some dudes on the outside, trust your running back room that's really, really solid, an offensive line that I know we're still trying to fully figure out, especially with a huge injury a couple of weeks ago. That's where we need to win this type of a game. Go in, sling it around a little bit, run the football, stay injury-free, and get in and get out. Get your first win for Kurt Cignetti at Memorial Field. It's going to be a great day on Saturday. There's so much happening. Game 1 of the season. College football is back, right? You've got the new tailgate going on. You've got all sorts of events happening. You have basketball, a huge basketball visitor happening with the Indiana basketball, the reunion happening, right? All the former players coming back. I mean, this is a big weekend for Indiana athletics. So if you're in Indiana or you can get to Bloomington this weekend, do it. Do it. Make the trip to Bloomington and watch Indiana take on this FIU team. I don't think they're going to be all that good. I don't think they make a bowl game. ESPN's trying to say they could just because, again, their conference is terrible, but don't overlook it, Indiana. Take care of business, go 1-0, and take down FIU. We'll have more on that on tomorrow's show, looking ahead to week 1, looking around the Big Ten as well, and stay tuned for that because we'll have the Friday edition of the show talking college football. Any basketball updates? We'll talk a little Harrelson visit as well, see if we can give you any more information as that will kick off tomorrow as well. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it. And you do not understand how much your support means to me, this show, and all of us here at the Locked On Podcast Network. So thank you so much for making this your first listen, your first watch each and every day. Be sure you follow us and turn on notifications on audio. If you're here on the YouTube side of things, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Help us get to 2,800 subscribers. Then we'll make the push to 29 and 10 to 3,000 as well. We will be back tomorrow, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.